My name is Art McKinney. We came to Ashland in 1979 to start a business. We rented the room behind me from Ray Knott's. When we got here, this was all flat black and red. It had been the Starlight Lounge or something like that for a while, a nightclub or something like that for like 3 days, and you shut it down.
Oh, how sad it was.
But we rented one room here, and we didn't intend to get to be a big company, but it kind of got away from us a little bit. In '79, we started. In '83, we had the opportunity to buy the building, so we did. And then in 1986, we did a certified historic rehabilitation. And it's getting a little long in the year, but we keep doing stuff. We recently exposed the brick in this wall. The banisters coming up the stairs were, only one of them was there, the rest were missing, so we had sewers remanufactured to, we gave them a piece of the original banister and had to make banisters to match.
Great.
So were these buildings built at the same time, or separate construction, separate time periods, and then joined over time?
Yeah, I think it just got filled in. I think the building sort of started off bookmarked. There was one down by the parking lot where the wine shop is, was one of the older buildings. I think your family built a frame thing on this corner. That burned down, and then they built this building.
Okay.
And then it kind of filled in. Hughes, the old Hughes, the building says Hughes on it. That's one of the old buildings, and I think everything else kind of filled in.
Okay.
The last infill was the bookstore next to the wine shop. That alley, as late as Ian was just showing me a picture from 1940, at least 1940, because there's 1940 Ford sitting in front of it, but that's still an alley, and the parking lot's got a little picket fence across the front of it.
Okay.
But it's really been interesting how difficult it was to recreate and figure out all this stuff from different people. There's a lot of oral histories that everybody ought to be working on, so we don't lose it. I've kept most of the original ceiling here. We came up with just hanging conventional lay-in light fixtures from a little grid. It worked pretty good. These cubicles and what have you are the sort of the way things were done a long time ago. We built these ourselves. We're beginning to think of what do we do next, but because we need to refresh the interior space. But there's about 50 people work up here. The grand staircase somebody was asking about is under where I'm standing. They infilled the floor here. I don't know exactly when that was done, but that grand staircase, we'll be able to see it when we go downstairs, but it's right here.
This area is where they showed the first television program on the first TV set in Ashland, right up at the head of the steps, the main steps. I was here as a boy.
This is just some pictures and things I thought y'all might not have seen. In 1986, I commissioned this sketch from Eliza Askin, I think is the one that did it.
Oh yes, calendar girl.
Yeah, we did about 100 signed things, and we gave them out to clients for a long time. That's the original. And then a couple of pictures. This is, I think, from '76 when Hank Lowry was running. There's a sign in the window. But we've struggled with whether to keep the metal awnings or not. But so far, it's made sense. They paint up pretty nice. But the building's been through a lot of iterations about what it looks like. Most recently, we got a little bit of a town grant to do the trim in what's called Charleston Green. I think that looks pretty nice. This is the appraisal and documents for historic rehabilitation from '86. A little map of the historic district. This is the plans, so you can, if you look at the plan, you can kind of see where you've been. You came up these stairs, walked down this hall, and then we turned out. It's a little bit more filled in right in here, and all the cubicles don't show, but that's basically the hard wall stuff. Right. And then these pictures are just a couple I found that most of you, I'm sure, have seen those and recognize who those folks are. We're not going to be able to take everybody at one time, but if you want to wander back and open the closet door, that's the stair. It's still there. It's all intact. You see the bottom part of the slope part there, right above the ceiling. It goes up this way, back this way. So you walk back. I wanted to tell you about these mirrors. Diane Hale used to have her dance studio upstairs, and we pushed her out of the upstairs because we were growing. She came down here, and those mirrors go all the way to the floor. When she moved out, and this went dark for just a minute. It was really scary when it went dark for a minute. the movie studio rented it and did a commercial, and so they remodeled it. They added all that wood trim around the mirrors. They were trying to make it look like a bank in Illinois or some darn thing. So we just left it like that. And when the Iron Horse started here, they picked up on a little bit of that theme. So it's been it's kind of interesting how some things just kind of happen. But the bar's a big deal. The moose head that's over the bar, has everybody heard that story?
No.
All right, that was Al Newman. Y'all know Al Newman's a Hanover guy. Anyway, he had that thing hanging up in the family room, and one day it unanchored itself and wiped out a piano, grand piano. So his wife allowed us how it was going now. And so he brought it up here, and that's where it's been hanging ever since. But it has a checkered past, at least. But it's stayed on the wall so far here. But originally, Iron Horse rented this side, and the other side, for a while, the florist was over there. When I first got it, really, the word, we call this business Railroad Mall, the real estate entity that I hold this in. And it was called Railroad Mall by the guys I bought it from, and there was like 5 businesses down here when we first came here. There was an eyewear shop, a little sandwich shop, and y'all can probably remember for a while this was the watering hole for Randolph-Macon College. So at 9:30 at night there was nobody down here, and at 10 you couldn't get in the door. And then they changed the drinking age and all that went away. But it's been interesting to watch the Iron Horse and the success they've had here. This is a really great location for a nice restaurant, and I know y'all eat here. The food is just fantastic, but they've done a really good job. If you haven't tried the Sunday brunch, give that a shot. But I forget the year now, they doubled over to this side, built the bar and what have you. The bar was hand built in place. It's quite a piece of work. The floors down here are interesting. You can see them in the bar room. You can see the floors, but that's 1-inch thick, hard pine, real narrow strips, real thick floor.
And now the gentleman who made all this possible with his generous support, he's so modest he didn't even want his name on the marker, but he's one of the great promoters of preservation and restoration in downtown Ashland, and that's what Main Street is all about, Mr. Art McKinney.
I don't understand the comment about the hat.
I love the hat.
It's cold, guys. Some of you other gentlemen I know understand. I just wanted to say a few quick words about stewardship. I guess, my way of looking at stewardship, and it may sound a little rough, but none of us actually ever own anything. It's interesting how people proud of their possessions and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you don't own anything. You're not getting out of this with anything but memories. So it's important to take care of what you got. I think the highest praise I could offer anybody is you left things a little bit better than you found them. And I think that's an important thing to carry through life, whether you're talking about your family or your business or your community or your country. So I think stewardship is kind of the message of the day. I do a lot of work in Europe. Old has a different definition in Europe. 100 years is a pretty good start. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. This is a nice event. I appreciate Main Street and the town and all they're doing. I'm looking for sidewalks. Sooner or later here, we're working on that. All right, well, thanks everybody for being here.